Hey guys, it's Shadow Flyer. In my last video, I talked a little bit about just my afterthoughts of Air Force field training, and I didn't really go into too much detail, but I kind of just gave my general thoughts on it. Today, I want to go into a little more detail on what you can do to prepare for field training. Now, the biggest thing I will say is that anything I say and anything you hear from anyone else will differ, and it's all because your experience will change based off of who your CTAs are, your cadet training assistants, and your FTO, your field training officer. You will have one for your flight, and you'll also have some other FTOs for your squadron leader. But depending on who you get will completely change how your experience is at field training. So while my CTA was a little more harsh and was pretty big on certain details, other CTAs were maybe just as harsh or a little bit less harsh, but they emphasize other things. So what I say may not go exactly how your experience kind of relates to when you do it, but just know that knowing your CTAs and what they like is going to be what really gets you through field training, because not that you want to suck up to them, but they're the main ones evaluating you, and what they want to see will be different than what you've been trained on most likely. So just the biggest thing is know them, get to know them, and kind of change how you act, not just around them, but know what they're looking for and adjust for it. So even if you are practically perfect, like you know how to march, you know all your knowledge, you're amazing at PT, even if you are this perfect guy practically in almost every aspect, you will never be perfect at field training. Field training is designed to find your weaknesses and improve them. So even if you, let's say dorm maintenance for example, let's say you know how to make your bed perfect. There isn't a person out there that somehow couldn't find something wrong with your bed. It's unlikely, but let's just say it was true. Even if you were like that, they will find something to yell at you about. It'll most likely be, well, if you're this good at making your bed, why didn't you help your next door neighbor, or why didn't you help your roommate make their bed perfect? Why isn't theirs up to the same standard as yours? And it'll get you, because it's impossible to be perfect at field training. Even if you manage to make your bed perfect and the next bed and the next bed, you're not going to be able to get your entire dorm. So there's no way for you to be perfect at field training, and that's the whole point of it, is they want to find your weaknesses and also just give you ways to improve. So even the one thing is, even if you are perfect at some things, that's not like you being perfect at something won't make you instantly one of the best cadets. You have to be well-rounded. You have to be likable, because it is all pure eval based off of what your peers think in your flight, and also what your CTA FTO think. So I know some people that in my flight, they were pretty good at a lot of things. There was one guy, I was almost positive he knew everything. He legitimately came with all the manuals for the Air Force, so that just in case he couldn't remember something, he could look it up. If you needed to know anything, you could ask him. But he wasn't one of the best ranked, because just because he had the knowledge didn't mean he could apply it. So understand that being perfect at one or two things, or even almost everything, it won't get you as far as you may hope. You have to be able to apply it and use it to whatever advantage you may find you need to use it. Now, for this reason, you're going to have to do what seems like you're way over preparing. You need to be able to be good at everything, and yet you won't probably use most of it. In fact, like knowledge, for instance. If you don't know your knowledge, you're almost guaranteed not going to get actually kicked out. However, if you want to get the DG, you want to be a distinguished graduate, then you're going to have to know it. If you don't know it, they're going to see it as, well, he was lazy and he didn't actually like take the time to learn the stuff. So if you want to do really well, you're going to have to over-prepare. If your goal is just to get by, honestly, you don't have to do too much. Like, almost anybody can pass it just if they're not trying and they don't want to do very well. But, I mean, hey, you're going to the Air Force. You should be trying to do your best. So, here are just a few tips that I think will help you prepare for field training. And the number one thing is know how to march. And not only how to march, but also how to lead. How to lead a group. So, you may or may not use this a ton. You will obviously have your time to be evaluated, but whether or not you're put as flight commander is up to your FTO CTA. So you may not apply it very much, but the little time you do end up applying it, they will notice it. And if you're terrible at it, they'll know, and you're less likely to be a DG. The second thing that I would say is pretty much equal to that would be dorm maintenance. And again, it may be emphasized more or less with certain CTAs, but the first thing you do when you get there pretty much is going to be dorm maintenance, and they're not going to give you much time. So you're going to want to go into it already knowing all the things you need to know about how to make your bed, how to get your dresser ready, how to fold or roll your clothes, whatever they're doing that year. If you don't know it, you can figure it out by looking in your field training manual, but it's going to take you so much extra time to read that you're not going to be able to get as much done. So go into it knowing how to march and also knowing how to do all the dorm maintenance stuff. Number 3, really learn how to properly delegate things. So whenever you're being evaluated, whether it's just as a flight commander or on a mock scenario, you're going to have to be able to delegate, and they want to almost see you micromanage. Now, don't micromanage because you could be docked for it, but they want to make sure that whatever you are told to do is getting done, and they want to see that you're not the only one doing it. So make sure that whoever is in your flight or squadron, if you're a squadron commander, make sure not only that they're doing what they're doing, but they know what they need to be doing in the future and that they're reporting to you. So really learn to delegate roles and also learn how to manage all the people under your control, because they really want to see all that communication. Number 4 is be honest but be likable, because again, everything is pure eval. So if you are just harsh with everybody and nobody likes you, you're not going to do well, just because when everybody's told to rank each other, they're going to be like, yeah, I hate this guy, he's like last on my list. So you have to kind of go in between. You need to be able to be honest. You don't want to be quiet all the time, and you don't want to always be making jokes, but you also have to be likable and know when to talk and when not to. Number 5, learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And this is mostly just with the situation. You're going to be in Alabama. It's not exactly cool down there. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be sweating a lot. You're going to be hot. You're probably going to be close to dehydrated, if not dehydrated. So you have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Don't let it get to you. And the next one would be kind of very similar to that, is not only being comfortable, but learn how to have good hygiene and learn how to keep yourself even with the limited time and limited resources you have. you don't want to be getting dehydrated. You may be getting close at some point, but you don't want to have to go to the medic maybe once, but you really don't want to have to go there as little as you can go there. That's the best. You for some things like dehydration, or for me, I ended up having to go because I was drinking enough, but I wasn't getting enough electrolytes in my system, and so I ended up cramping up like crazy. And don't do that. Make sure you're drinking enough water, but also make sure you're drinking they usually have Squelcher. It's like the off-brand. It's a nasty version of Gatorade. I don't recommend it, but you need to get it, because if you don't get it, you're going to cramp up, you're going to have issues. And same thing if you don't eat. The food, whether you like it or not, you have to have it. If you don't have it, you're going to be in a bad position, because you're not going to be in good health, and so you're not going to be able to perform all the jobs you need to do. So, number 7 is develop good risk management. They want to see you taking risks, but they also don't want to see you taking unnecessary risks. So whoever grades your assignment, whatever mission you're kind of given, you may or may not actually be able to see the form beforehand to see if you can kind of go through the criteria and see what they're grading you on. But one thing they will grade you on, I guarantee it, is how well you take risks. If you can plan ahead of time and go to a situation where you may not know the outcome exactly, but you have evaluated whether or not you think the potentials for good outweigh the potentials for bad, and whether or not you think it's worth it, they will see that and they will appreciate it. So develop good risk management, and finally, make up good excuses. Now, I know this sounds really dumb, because they always say that, like, one of the basic responses is no excuse. Well, it's no excuse, sir, but anyways, they don't like that. At field training, they hear that from so many cadets, and they don't like it. They know there's an excuse. They know there's a reason you did what you did, and you're not going to learn anything if you don't know why you did it and why it was a bad decision. So learn to make up good excuses. If all you can ever say is no excuse, sir, or you come up with some dumb response just so that they kind of go away, they're going to go away, and they're going to give you a 341 as well. So come up with good reasons for why you do everything. And I mean, part of that is just have a good reason for why you do anything. That way, if anybody ever stops you and they're like, hey, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? You can tell them straight up, hey, I was hoping to help my friend, and it didn't go quite as planned, but my intentions were good. I was trying to help. They'll see that, and they'll either just say, okay, well, maybe here's a suggestion for next time, or sometimes you might even get a 341 for excellent. Like, their responses are going to be a lot better than, oh, I don't know why I did it. I thought it was a good idea at the time. Like, they're probably going to give you a 341, and not the good kind for that. So those are my tips for preparing for field training. I'd recommend learning them, and hopefully you'll do pretty well in field training. That's all I have for today. Have a great day, guys.